There's exactly 1,260 days until the end, or 1,260 days, and then the end. But how do we understand what this 1,260 days represent? We have to include multiple sources. The 1,260 days is an interpretation of a time limit, great tribulation, or the worst time in the world for the children of Israel. It's important to understand the 1,260 days is not about the entire world. It's about the children of Israel. Other people will be suffering during that time too, as they currently are. Remember, the Bible is about the children of Israel. I heard Truth Unedited's video and I got to the part where he talked about the 1,260 days. So let's watch his video about the 1,260 days.
This woman who bears the child is Yasharel, Israel. That's why she has the garland of 12 stars. 12 stars representing the 12 tribes. The male child that she gave birth to is, of course, Yahusha. That's why verse 5 says he is a male child who will rule all nations with a rod of iron. That's, of course, describing him. And later, Israel's child, Yahusha, was caught up to Elohim and his throne. The fiery red dragon is told to be Satan in verse 9. When Yasharel flees into the wilderness, she will be prepared there by Yah, and Yah will feed us for 1,260 days. And so from this, I believe that both the gathering and the Revelation 12 sign we just read, happening with Israel, are congruent with each other. And it's possible that the great earthquake that happens after the witnesses leave contributes to Yasharel being able to come together in the gathering. I'm just speculating. I do not know for sure, obviously.
He's right about the woman in the wilderness and it being Israel, the great red dragon that represents people, not the devil. But you can see he's confused about the time period of the 1,260 days and when it occurs. The good thing about him is that he admits when he doesn't know something. Like, people will pretend to know something when they don't. So let's talk about how we clear up the 1,260 days and how do we understand it. The verses you're going to need to understand it are Daniel 12:7, Revelation 11:2, Revelation 13:5, Luke 21:24, Matthew 24:21, and Jeremiah 30:7. Now, if you understand a lot about the Bible, you can freeze this part of it, look at these verses and stop the video and go do your own study. But we're going to go through all of it, not in this one video, but I'm going to go over some of them today, and then I'm going to make other videos, part 1, part 2, part 3, of all of these verses and showing you how they're connected. And my goal is to make them standalone videos so that if you just watch one, you can still get a pretty good idea of what the 1,260 days are. But let's start and let's go over the first 3 that I mentioned. We're going to go over Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time, times, and the dividing of times. When we read this now, the time, times, and the dividing of time, they come up with the calculation of 1,260 days is 1 year is time, times is 2 years, and the dividing of time is a half a year. And we're using 360 days as a year. And if you do that, then you will come to 1,260 days, right? So that's how they come up with the calculation of 1,260. But the 1,260 days is not literal. That's an interpretation that you see in the New Testament. So let's read Revelation chapter 12, verse 6. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of Elohim, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. So that literally says 1,260 days. But that's also an interpretation. But what we read about in Daniel is the time, and the dividing of time. And this woman that's fed in the wilderness for 1,260 days, it's the same thing. It's the same event. Now let's read Revelation 11:11. And this is talking about the 2 witnesses. And I had so many comments in my last couple of videos about the 2 witnesses. A lot of people don't like the fact that I said it's just an analogy of Israel. But like the woman in the wilderness is an analogy for Israel. That's plain to see. It's just a little easier to see. But the 2 witnesses also are an analogy for Israel. Revelation 11:11. After 3.5 days, the spirit of life entered into them, and they stood on their feet, and great fear fell on them which saw them. And here we have 3.5 days, which you can tie back to Daniel. 1 day is a year. Then you have 2 days, which is 2 years and a half. So all these 3 use different measurements, but you can see it's the same. Time, times, and a half. It's the same period. And as I said earlier, this time period. It's a suffering period. It's called the Great Tribulation, which started after 70 AD. From 70 AD till now is the Great Tribulation. We're living in it. The suffering of the children of Israel. It's a race of people that are struggling. It's about your code. The Most High is the only one who knows who the children of Israel are. So let's go deeper into these verses, and now we're going to get a better idea that these 3 verses all represent the same event. And in future videos, I'm going to tie in all the other verses. So let's go back to Daniel chapter 7, verse 25, and let's read what this event is. Daniel chapter 7, verse 3, and then we're going to skip down. And 4 beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. This is Daniel's dream. And he had a dream about 4 beasts. And then the Most High, through an angel, explains to Daniel what the dreams mean. Verse 23, thus he said, the 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and tread it down, and break it in pieces. On the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and shall be diverse from the first, and shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time, times, and the dividing of times. When we read this, when it says that they will be given into his hand, is the children of Israel. The saints of the Most High are the children of Israel. So they will be given into this kingdom's hand. Can't interpret it what we want it to be. We have to just accept the words on the page. The kingdom will rule the earth. Verse 23 says, the 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon the earth. And the reason why it's diverse is because it has so many arms and heads and legs. It controls the whole earth. The other beasts only controlled part of the earth, the known world at that time. There were parts of the earth that were uninhabited for the 3 kingdoms. But the 4th kingdom rules the entire earth. And we see that they will be given into his hand, meaning that the children of Israel will be giving into his hand for this particular time period, times, and dividing of time, which is interpreted to be 1260 days. And how we connect that is by reading Revelation chapter 12, verse 3. And there appeared a woman in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns on his head. And his tail drew the 3rd part of stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations, with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up to Elohim and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of Elohim, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. And when the dragon saw that he was cast to the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And the woman had 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, times, and half of time from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away by the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened up her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. So this is a mouthful now, but let's connect all the pieces. When it said a red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns, you can connect that with Daniel about the 4th kingdom. The 4th kingdom, which was diverse. The woman represents Israel. This great red dragon represents the 4th beast, or the bloodline that rules the earth. The first bloodline was the children of Nebuchadnezzar. Second bloodline was the Persian Mede Empire. The third was Alexander the Greek, and then he passed it off to 4 people. The 4th was the Roman Empire, which died and now is reborn, living on this earth. That's what the 4th beast is. It has to be an entire kingdom. This great red dragon is not Satan. It's a kingdom that's ruling the earth. And his tail drew a 3rd part of the stars, and did cast them to the earth. That's the same thing that we read about in Daniel. And he shall speak words against the Most High, and wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. One extension of this beast is going to change times and laws. They've done it already. You have the Gregorian calendar, and before that you had the Julian calendar, which was from Julius Caesar. We see that this kingdom in this beast in Revelation is the same kingdom that we're talking about in Daniel, which is the 4th beast. And it says, this woman, or Israel, is nourished for a time and times and half of time from the face of the serpent, meaning that she's protected from the serpent. This serpent casts out a flood, means that he wants to kill the entire bloodline of the children of Israel. The people who belong to this bloodline want to kill another bloodline. this beast wants to rule forever. This bloodline wants to rule forever. So how do we do that? We eliminate the people who are supposed to succeed this kingdom. And you see that the dragon was cast to the earth and he persecuted the woman. And we see in Daniel that he's going to wear out the saints of the Most High. It's the same event. Now let's go to Revelation 11:11 to the two witnesses, and let's get more background on the two witnesses. Starting with Revelation chapter 11, verse 7. And when they have finished their testimony, talking about the two witnesses, the beast that ascends out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them and shall overcome them and kill them. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where our king was crucified. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and an half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. What's the connecting verse between what we read about the two witnesses in Daniel? In Revelation 11:7, it says, and when they have finished their testimony, the beast that ascends out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them and overcome them and kill them. And in Daniel chapter 7, the fourth kingdom, he goes, I beheld, and the same had made war with the saints and prevailed against them. So we see that this horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. And the two witnesses, it says, the beast that ascends out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them and overcome them. The beast in Revelation 11:11, the dragon in verse 12 of Revelation, and the fourth kingdom in Daniel are all the same entity. It's a bloodline. To sum this all up, 1260 days is just the time period of suffering for the children of Israel. I'm going to tie it into later videos about the Great Tribulation. It's all the same event. And I use 3 sources, which is Daniel chapter 7, Revelation chapter 11, Revelation chapter 12. The woman that fled into the wilderness, the two witnesses, and the saints of the Most High are all the same people. They're going to suffer at the hands of this bloodline until Christ or Yeshua comes back. That's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.